Ladies and gentlemen, if you're still sober after that game, let me tell you something. You have what they call intestinal fortitude. But let me tell you who doesn't. Man, our New Orleans Saints. Yeah, this is going to be a sad recap. It's going to be a tough one. And I'm going to admit, I've got some hot takes, not because I'm wanting to be hot takey, but when you even look at the head coaches who have started off seasons, their first year, including Dennis Allen and Sean Payton, you can't name a game where they got absolutely embarrassed like today. Didn't happen. They might have lost games, and I'm not sitting here saying DA is a great coach. Y'all have heard me plenty of times say no, but today was embarrassing. And as always, Elias, it's good to see you.
Likewise, it wasn't good to watch that trash-ass game, though.
No. Normally, I'll leave these, knowing this team's in a rebuild, I'll leave it and go, you know what, maybe this and that. Yeah, nope, I don't have many positives to say about this game. You know, honestly, who's probably the most consistent player? Shout out to Kendre Miller and Brandon Cooks. Like, if I just got to name two people, shout out to Brandon Cooks and Kendre Miller. AK did not have a great game. I don't really blame things on AK. The offensive line obviously didn't have Fuaga. You didn't have Radden starting. You didn't have Trevor Penning ready to slide into anything. So obviously the offensive line coming in very hobbled, problematic, but that is what it is. You know, the biggest thing, and I think Coach Phil Galliano is a good coach. I do believe he deserves the opportunity to be a special teams coordinator. He's gotten to sit under a lot of great guys, but you've now got 3 games in a row, Blake Groupie missing field goals. You let a punt return go. You let a kick return go 60 yards. Like, it's not like I'm just trying to pick on one person, though, because it's everything. It is defense, no pressure. I mean, you know who gave you the most pressures today on defense? Brian Brzee, who we've talked about being maybe should even be a 3-down starter in this game right now. He led your team in pressures today. Like, everybody is getting a big L, even though they look great. Like, I know I've talked about the khaki uniforms not liking it, but the white on white with the white hats look clean. They looked real good as they got beat. I'll tell you that, man.
What is this? I have. Oh yeah. You weren't gonna tell me I had a piece of fuzz right there, or you was gonna let me just sit in the camera with a piece of fuzz
I didn't see the
on my
fuzz, if I'm
on my
being
bed?
honest.
Nah,
But
you just didn't say nothing.
why you always
I
do
ain't
that?
laughing. Cause I ain't laughing.
All right. To know you is to get to know you, and I know you ain't laughing. But nobody laughing
Yeah,
today.
because you can visually see that.
Oh, man. Yeah, I agree with Kendall. Horrible game. Horrible game. I truly believe everybody deserves some fault. Everybody. And by the way, Clint Kubiak, not looking so bad as an OC right now. His offense 2-1. So, with Sam Darnold at QB.
And Darnold's also a former first-round, highly drafted quarterback with
Sure.
exceedingly amounts of talent. Maybe he was just drafted into
A bad
shitty
situation.
and it just
I mean, that could be fair, but at the same time, like if you had asked every Saints fan right now, would you rather have Spencer Rattler or Sam Darnold? Pretty universal. Most people would have chosen Spencer Rattler. So, I mean, Sam Darnold at this point in his career is definitely looked at negatively, even with the first round backing. So, he did make some throws today, though. I will say that about Darnold. He made some throws.
yeah. I mean, we talked about it. Like I said, if you saw the same issues you saw in the first 2 games,
Yeah, let's talk about that.
I mean, it was the same team. So I guess the eerie thing about it, or at least the expected thing about it, is it's the same team we've been watching the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Same exact team. They were away, which leads to things being a little bit more unfavorable, and then the opposing team was far better,
Yeah.
and so the results look far worse because of that. But it was the exact same stuff we've been seeing: the lack of pressure, the penalties, the inability to get anything going, the lack of explosive plays, the falling behind early, like
Yeah.
the missed field goal. Like it was the same things we've been seeing, just played a better team, and they were away. So I don't know if that. I wonder if that's something you can take solace from, in that it wasn't like they were worse. They
If
just
it
were the
wasn't
same team.
if it wasn't 44-13, I might be with you. But I mean, heck, just 2 weeks ago, you and I were saying, hey, this could be a winnable game in Seattle. Like it could be, right? We weren't saying they were going to win, but we were saying, hey, this is a winnable game. As
Did
in,
I ever say that?
yeah,
I
we
don't ever
talked about
think I
them
thought
going
that.
2-2. We said that they couldn't win against the Bills, but they had a shot against Seattle. But 44-13 as a loss is not a shot. That's just a drubbing. Again, neither of
Yeah,
us were picking them to win, but I don't think either of us expected a blowout. Because Seattle took their foot off the gas and still scored 44 points.
yeah, I probably was being delirious when I said that initially. I don't think I ever saw them going to Seattle and winning. I always thought the first opportunities for them to win were in the dome at home against
Agreed.
the 49ers and the Cardinals. You can maybe like they're like, oh, they play two tight games. If they can fix what their
Yeah.
issues are, maybe they have a chance to go to Seattle and do an upset. But I don't think I ever expected
Well,
them to win this game. I was
I guess this for me is just seeing the level of the problems magnified in this game. Like, for example, and for anybody that wants to come comment afterwards, because it seems to happen every week, I've given Spencer Rattler mad props for 2 weeks. This game was Spencer Rattler. You look, it's the truth. Spencer Rattler's accuracy issues and ball placement issues were present from drive one throughout the end of the game. His best throw
never not been present.
His best throw was to stall the backup tight end in the end zone. That was his best throw. But the pick was very bad.
Him trying to make a play. The pick was a desperation heave from a team that is watching this game go down the drain.
Sure.
And he's absolutely just trying to force a play. It was the worst play he's made, but it's understandable within the context of the entire game. He was trying to make a play.
If it was a one-off, sure. The second quarter when he tried to thread the needle through 4 defenders, stuff like that, I mean, if you
press it.
It does depend, though, because if he has the ball placement on, like if he's coming into the game hot and he's feeling it and he's actually got great ball placement, I don't typically mind it. But from the very jump, he had bad ball placement this game. Not just the AK miss in the first drive, but even the pass before that. Now, you and I agree. We say if it hits the hands, you should catch it. But that pass to Juwan Johnson was, as we've talked about before, well over his head. He had to go up, try to get it. He still should have caught it, in my opinion, because it touched your hands. But through the hands, that's out. He had a bad day with ball placement, and then the running game just wasn't there to help him out. And we saw the Spencer Rattler that we worried about seeing. And to be clear, this is everybody. Like, we can call out every name on this offense and defense for disappointing. I'm disappointed in Carl Granderson, who I just talked about being the best player on defense. Pete Warner looked like a better player today. Granderson got nothing in terms of pressure. Had some good edge plays, but nothing in terms of pressure when you needed pressure. This was rough. But I think the biggest one, you talked about this being things we've already seen. 11 penalties, 5 of them in the first quarter. So I guess technically they cleaned it up. For those keeping track, this brings the Saints up to 34, which at the time of this recording is the 3rd worst number in the entire NFL, which I guess makes sense because they're 0-3.
Yeah, playing an away game to me magnified all of the issues from the first 2 games.
Yeah.
It expanded it a lot more. Listen, the only solace I think that they can take from this is there are 2 things here, and I talked about it at the beginning of the season. Number one, you haven't played a division game yet.
Yeah.
So even if you lose the first 4 games, you can still potentially win your division based on a few things.
On that, real quick, just because you mentioned division, did you see Panthers-Falcons?
I wouldn't watch that trash even if I was forced to.
Well, just to own your point, the Panthers beat the Falcons 30-0, blanked them. The Panthers, who everybody's talking about potentially going completely defeated. So the division trash is what I'm saying. The division trash.
Yeah, I mean, I look at division games. When I see 2 division opponents play each other, I always take whatever the outcome is with a grain of salt because these teams draft to beat each other. So you either always say division games either go one of 2 ways. Either they're extremely close or they look like a blowout. So I always take, like, if I see an opponent we're getting ready to play and I see they had a tough division game the week before and everybody's like, oh, we have an opportunity to be, I really kind of throw out that division game because the setup is such as it is. As much as they're losing, I think they're finding out what the hell isn't working. That's also something that they can take from these games it is very much exposing what is wrong, what hasn't worked to this point, what they
Yeah.
thought was going to work to this point, and you get to see it, and now you can kind of adjust from it, which I think the entire month of September is going to expose that. I think they will have an opportunity to build on that maybe in October, but September was going to be rough once they lost the two games anyway. I
Yeah.
mean, Buffalo is probably going to destroy us, but October you have a chance to just completely start fresh,
Mm-hmm.
so to speak. And I that's kind of the only solace. But everything else, man, it's kind of crumbling. The special teams crumble. The penalties again, very very rough. It's an away game. You can expect the crowd to kind of have that issue.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm gonna say. This is what I'm saying. What I've always said. I am a Spencer Rattler fan. When I looked at him in that quarterback class, um, I thought he was the best play action quarterback that I saw. And I thought that he was a steal to get in the fifth round. However, despite the fact that I understand the circumstances from last year were not built for him to succeed, I do recall one game in particular where Rattler comes in and it's versus the I don't want to say it's the Commanders. It's versus the Commanders. Rattler goes down and we have the opportunity to win the game.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And we get the score. It's the 2-point conversion. We cannot make the play. Now, in the grand scheme of things, the inability to make that play, based on everything that was going on around him, it's not necessarily his fault, right? But the fact that he got us there was wonderful. Here's what's going to push Shuck into the conversation at some point. Until, and I can't say until, I think in that particular game, it exposed that Rattler is a quarterback you can win with,
Mm-hmm.
not because of.
Agreed. Yeah.
And because Shuck is an unknown, at some point, you have to see if he's a quarterback that you can win because of. And that's
Okay.
what's going to push him to the forefront at some point. I don't know when it's going to happen.
Yeah, because I
It's
wouldn't
not an
I wouldn't
indictment
make
on
that swat
Rattler.
now. I mean, I would give Rattler a lot more snaps before I made that swap. But I get where you're
Yeah, no,
going with it.
absolutely. It's not an indictment on Rattler. It's not me suggesting that
Yeah.
he should be pulled or that they should be benching him. They should be focusing on the development of both.
Yeah.
However, it is, in my opinion, despite me being a Rattler fan, and this goes back to his college. Some quarterbacks, you just see it. They have it. It doesn't matter what level they're playing at. You just see it. But I do not think that he's a quarterback that you win because of. I do not think that he's a quarterback that can take a roster that is
Mm-hmm.
below average and raise the height of that roster like Drew Brees did 2014 to 2016. Those were terrible rosters.
Yeah.
With any other quarterback and any other head coach, those are 3 and like 14, 3 and 15 rosters easily.
Mm-hmm.
And you were still able to squeeze 3 consecutive 7 and 9s until you get the big 2017 draft to go along with the 2016 draft where you had Rankins and Michael Thomas and you get a couple of hits there. But prior to that, there is no reason that they should have won 7 games. But that was
Yeah.
because of the type of quarterback that Drew Brees was. I do not think that Rattler's that quarterback. I don't know if Shuck is that quarterback, but at some point they're going to have to find out.
It's a fair point. Like I said, I'm definitely not ready to move from Rattler at the moment. And I've said very loudly that I hate win-losses being attributed to quarterbacks. I think that's silly, but I won't deny that there are people in media, in the NFL, who care about QB record. Hell, Bill Parcells cared about it, wrote about it. Sean Payton, that was his thing. Like we've seen that before. And people are going to look at Rattler being 0-9 and they're going to judge based off that. And that will influence decisions. And that will, whether I like it or not, that's going to be a thing. So Rattler does have to play with a sense of urgency to make sure that the opportunity for Shuck isn't sooner rather than later. He's got to push it off so that he can develop. Loved what we saw the first 2 weeks in terms of his development. But we got a couple questions I want to grab here because it's pertinent to what we're talking about. Number one from Raheem. Also, I see your question, Bazil. We'll talk quarterbacks drafting next year, but only 3 weeks in, man. It's a little bit early. But I do agree with you that Spencer Rattler's accuracy can be wild. Me and Elias have talked about that. Sometimes he's going to throw a beam. Sometimes he's just going to really overthrow a lot, especially when it comes to how he operates his lower body mechanics. He uses too much upper body, which causes passes to sail, and that leads to problems. But Raheem did say, how would you or Elias fix the issues with the passing game with the offense starting now? And I'd say a big thing, and like I said, this isn't an indictment on Rattler, although Rattler has been this guy since he started playing. They have got to play pushing the ball more. What I mean by that, today, stat-wise, Rattler threw 28 completions for only 218 yards. That's 5.6 an attempt. Chris Olave, who is a 4.3 speed demon, better set to be a flanker, but irregardless, averaged 5.7 yards per his catches and had 10 receptions. Like, they switched the main targeting to him versus Johnson, but all of it was short, intermediate throws for the most part, right? If they're going to start having better success with this offense, it's got to stop operating. Basically, everything is 7 yards, 8 yards or shorter, whether it's the running game, the screen game, the short passing game. We've talked about pushing deep, and I still think that should happen, but the entire offense it's almost like they're playing condensed. They've got to spread more. They'll show spread looks, but everything comes back to within like this bubble. They've got to bust out of that bubble. That's the big one for me. And whether that is Rattler doing it at some point, Shuck doing it, a brand new quarterback, not named Manning, maybe named Manning, whatever. That's the big thing. This offense is stuck inside of a little bubble, and they've got to burst out of it.
Here's my question to you before I even touch on it.
Yeah.
Is this more of Rattler not taking the shots, or is it more of Kellen Moore not calling shot play?
So a lot of Rattler's looks are, in my opinion, and other people who watch Saints tape for the past 2 games, obviously I've not seen the all 22 for this set, so I don't know exactly what the pass calls were in terms of seeing how many are 5, full field reads versus half field, stuff like that. But a lot of Rattler's runs so far have been pretty simple in terms of, hey, this is going to be your half field focus. If it's not there, buy time, roll out, make a run, whatever. And he tends to find what his target is and hit the first look. That tends to be his read. He can progress. I'm not saying he doesn't. There's going to be that person in the comments says, oh, he's greatly improved in, progressing reads. Whatever. It doesn't seem to happen with him a lot. And if his guy is close, if that is Olave, he's going to throw the ball to him if that's the read, and he thinks he can make it, even if it's not the best option on the field that's been drawn up. That also could just be him being a young quarterback who doesn't even have a year of NFL experience yet. Because in college,
I don't think it is.
Let me play devil's advocate for a second. I get where you're coming from. But in college, people can play more in terms of you make a tight throw, but you trust your guy to be that elite guy who's just going to break it, right? Like, it's easier in college to have that player who's on your team who you just know is significantly better than the opposing team. But the NFL is such a culture shock, and you could actually see it today with Rashid Shaheed. Serious question for the chat and you. Is Rashid Shaheed as fast as he was before all the injuries? Because it's tough to imagine Rashid Shaheed getting run down on punt returns, but that happened today. And I'm not saying that he's not a good player, but that shows the NFL. Like, even if you fell back 2%, everybody else has caught up with you. There's no big gaps anymore. And Rattler could be used to, okay, if I just get it to my star guy, he'll make a play. And in the NFL, it's a hell of a lot harder to just make a play.
Well, I guess the point that I was pointing out is I think that's who he is. In my notes when I scouted his college games, I put he needs a number 1 receiver, because when things are tight, when things are close, when everything is muddy, he's going to throw it to his guy. That's who he's been. That's who he is. So the fact that you're telling me that hasn't grown about him in 2 years, it confirms that yes, he has to have a dominant receiver on his team, and they'll make wonderful music together if that receiver is a dominant receiver. If you put Rattler with Michael Thomas, 2020 Michael Thomas, 2019 Michael Thomas, they probably move the ball up and down the field. Just because he has someone that he can throw to, and someone that can save his off-target throws, someone that can make music with his terrible chords. So plenty of people pointed out, I saw it, or at least I felt it. During preseason, I felt like there were two different offenses based on what quarterback was in.
Okay.
It seemed like with Rattler, everything was quick, short, kind of just to the point. It seemed like when Shuck was in the game, it felt a little bit more aggressive. I don't know if that is the play caller, which is why I asked. I don't know if that's the play
Mm-hmm.
caller calling different plays or if it's the quarterback making different reads. And it's an arguable point or it's something to at least question. Um, because it just seems like with Rattler, I don't feel like the way that Kellen Moore wants his offense to run, I don't think it suits Rattler to the like. We didn't, and it's obviously it's loud, so you can't run as much hurry up.
Yeah.
But there were things that Rattler did that accentuated who he was and could have helped, and then it seemed like they did not want to do it in the next few games.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Kellen Moore wants to be a, let's call it 55-45 pass heavy offense. We'll argue maybe 60-40. It's like he
Okay.
wants to be 60-40 when he should probably be closer to like 55-45 or a 50-50 or maybe even a run balance offense and then run the play action off of that. I
Mm-hmm.
do not feel like we're using Kamara really well either. I I think Kamara has been relegated to a bell cow back, which he's never been. You
Yeah.
just turn around, hand the ball off to him, turn around and hand the ball off to him. I do not like. Why are we drawing up plays for Jawan and not drawing up plays for Alvin to be used as the short or the intermediate receiver? Not even intermediate, but almost like the safety valve. It's like I'm seeing clear play designs for that are designed for Jawan Johnson to get him the ball, and then I'm kind of just seeing like Alvin is like, here, catch this swing and go make
Well,
something happen. Like, where's the angle routes? Where's
yeah, that's what I
getting
was gonna say.
Alvin
Like,
matched up
yeah,
on a linebacker and having him run like a choice route? Like,
yeah,
where are these things for him?
yeah. I agree because the Texas concept was huge with him. They used to love that. Lining him up in the slot. I don't have numbers in front of me, but he's not lined up in the slot a lot. And I'd even go as far as to say when it comes to, and I'm just being honest, I don't think 3 games in we can really judge more, know all of where he's at. But I did expect more kind of Philly. I did expect coming in with a guy like Rattler, more RPO looks, more jet sweep looks, more of those touch pass looks. I expected a lot more movement, and I specifically expected more getting Rattler outside, whether that was running more RPOs and being more consistent with that. And especially given the state of the offensive line, I would want to try to rely and trust on that movement instead of a place where that right now penetration in both sides of your B gaps are just almost guaranteed right now. There's that internal pressure. Where are more of those toss sweeps? Where are more of those type of plays to get AK in space, which we talked about forever, not treat him as a bell cow, and then actually get Rattler where he tends to be more successful, which is more of the scramble drill. Get him outside, roll. He either runs or he throws a quick pass. And if you're going to run these more simplistic reads, which seems to be the current case for him, I just feel like he's being stymied into, hey, you're going to succeed as a pocket passer or you're not. And I expected more of a Hurts look. And maybe some of it's on Spencer, some of it's on Moore, but either way, that's a part of why this offense is a little stale. And we know who AK is. That's why I'm not harping on the run game too much. When you're missing essentially 3 offensive linemen, it's tough. But yeah, it's whatever direction that's going. I mean, you can't average 4 yards a gain and have success as an offense. It doesn't matter who's at quarterback.
I have not. I've grown to like Kellen Moore as a choice for head coach. However, I recall when doing the research and looking at his offense and trying to figure out what a kind of a feel was for his offense. I recall looking at some of the Philly stuff,
Yeah.
and I remember a lot of it being like short, maybe intermediate, but not a very explosive offense. And I remember asking myself, does this feel like a New Orleans Saints offense?
Yeah.
And my answer was no.
Mm-hmm.
I was very high on Mike Kafka. Mike Kafka, who is who I wanted for the head coach before I was like, okay, I see where they're going with Kellen Moore. I get the direction. I actually wanted Mike Kafka because
Mm-hmm.
he talked about being aggressive and using formations, and I didn't see that in Kellen Moore's offensive DNA when I looked at him. I just didn't see it, and so it's interesting to see that they're consistently playing that way. It doesn't seem like he wants to be an attacking downfield what New Orleans is used to. It seems more methodical. It
Yeah.
seems more, and that can work. It just doesn't feel like New Orleans. Now, coaches adjust. They figure out what they are. So this is not only a challenge for the team,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also a challenge for Kellen Moore to kind of adjust and start the kind of. It's like, yo, if you gonna call plays for Spencer Rattler like he's Tyler Shuck, then you might as well just put goddamn Tyler Shuck in the game. Just, I mean, you might as well go. If that's the quarterback you feel more comfortable calling plays for at this point, then you may need to pivot to that, or you should adapt and play with what you have, or call plays designed based on what you have. Which arguably, flip side of the defense,
But
which we haven't
that's
discussed yet,
just where I was going to
but
go.
we gotta
Yeah.
flip to the defense, because it's like, listen, there's things that are obviously not working,
Mm-hmm.
and your boy is like, he's the high IQ genius that's so high IQ that he does dumb things.
Look,
Like it.
I want to hit one comment just on your more what he's used to. And one big difference between Philly and why I feel they can be methodical is they live by one of my favorite football idioms. You win the war in the trenches. Philly has had elite O-line and front seven/D-line play for about a decade now, and it's stayed that way. You don't see Philly having blowout games, right? The defense keeps it close, and they consistently have success. But a huge difference here is even just how Staley is running a defense compared to what Kellen Moore was used to with Philly, or even when Kellen Moore was used to things in Dallas. I'm going to say Chicago. Through two games, ladies and gentlemen, because Philly's numbers aren't even updated yet. Philly had blitzed 39 times this year. So let's just say they're averaging 20 a game. They're around 50 to 60 after game 3, and I don't have those numbers yet. New Orleans, through 3 games now, because I watched today, has blitzed 16 times. Right?
It's awful.
For a team that is struggling to consistently get pressure, has got corners who are unproven, which one positive I want to throw out real quick to all the viewers. Quincy Riley got snaps today and forced that fumble that Pete Warner recovered. Great job putting that hat on a ball. Great tackle, Riley. Thank you so much for being some glimmer of positive in what was a terrible game today. But Riley got snaps, which was nice for me to see. We talked about, maybe swapping out Isaac, which if they did that, and that happens to be the way that the season ends up going, you can put that comp pick back on the table that would be taken off if they decide to start Yiadom all season long. But if you do Riley and he's below 30% snap count, then you're going to get that comp pick, which we really desperately need at this point. So it's big for me. And then it's even what Raheem was also talking about in our chat, the penalties, man. So many of them being pre-snap on both offensive and defensive, just stupid stuff, right? Even special teams, like how often we had a blocked field goal called back because of special teams problems. Pre-snap style penalties is
a guy trying to make a play on special.
I would if it wasn't the entire team. I'm with you if it wasn't the entire team 3 games in and preseason. Consistent.
They're pressing.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
I see a team I see a team, but I see individual players that are pressing because they're frustrated. Listen, this is what 9 straight losses that dating back to last year. See, so 2 things I want to point out. One, here's last season was a terrible season, right? But I've always said it's gonna take 2 years for this team to kind of, because you still have players from last year's awful team that are still on this team, which means they have some of the same experiences. Sometimes you got to gut everything so the people that experienced the trauma and the terror, you got to move on from them because they can carry that with them. You got to bring all new stuff in that doesn't have an awareness of how bad they are capable of being. And so it
Mm-hmm.
was always going to take 2 years for this team to completely be gutted and kind of reformed so that it
That's
can
fair.
fit within Kellen Moore's image. Um,
But I gotta say one thing, man. I agree with you, but those type of penalties, this consistently, is I don't. That's not a player indictment. That's a coaching indictment, and that's something that's got to get fixed, regardless of who the players are. That is a leadership and coaching issue.
I I agree about 60%. I'm just saying I
Yeah.
see players trying to make plays because not enough plays aren't being made. So effectively to me it does still fall on coaching because it's like players are like, damn, I gotta do something. I gotta play outside the structure of the defense. I gotta try and get off this field goal. I gotta try and get off and make a play because collectively we're not making enough plays. Either the coaches aren't putting us in position to make plays or
Mm-hmm.
something, but it's causing guys to press.
Yeah.
And so when I
That's
look at
logical. I'm with you. I do.
him going offside, they're pressing, and I
Mm-hmm.
get why they're pressing. Um, listen, this is a game of it's 90% mental. It's only 10% physical. They have a bad stench on them.
They do.
And when you have a bad stench on you as a staff, to me, you have to put the pedal to the floor as often as you can to give them a chance to find
Mm-hmm.
something to believe in. The only way to do that is to be aggressive in all aspects. You call a blitz, throw the ball downfield, hit on some shot plays, call a fake punt. Do things that invigorates the team's belief
Fair.
that they can make plays, and then once they believe they can make plays, they'll make them. Right now, this is a team that I don't think believes that they can win.
Mm-hmm.
And it's showing in the output. They're not winning. They're losing close. They're losing big. They're making penalties left and right. There's pre-snap penalties. It's stupid penalties.
Yeah.
It's bad officiating penalties. It's snowballing
Reminds me a
in
little bit
every
of
single way.
2016 in a lot of ways. Remember, because 2016, we lost by the weirdest ways. That was the year that the white shoe Denver Bronco on the sideline. I mean, just
Oh yeah. I remember that.
yeah, bad
Yeah,
teams find a
yeah.
way, even if they're not meaning to. They find a way to lose a
They
game,
find a way
you
to
know.
lose. Yeah,
And that just feels
yeah.
like where the Saints are right now. They're going to find a way to lose because they don't have that identity. They don't have that full belief yet. And I'm still not saying get rid of Moore, although Godfather is. He says 0-4, here we come. I'm not going to even argue at that point because I agree. But Loomis, Moore, and Staley have to go. They said they would have rather have like Joe Brady or Mike McDaniel. I wouldn't personally. I wouldn't. Real quick aside, because I feel like their style of offense, which is specifically Joe Brady's an offshoot of Sean Payton, is kind of becoming a dinosaur right now as the league shifts to a different style, an older style. Give me somebody who's still familiar with running an old I-form, running a 22 personnel. We're getting back to the old school, baby. I mean, bring out your Brian McKnight. It ain't no more time for NBA Youngboy. We're done with NBA Youngboy, okay? Got back to the oldies, classics. And I just don't know if those two guys are there, but I understand where the frustration's coming from in that. I truly do, especially when you're 0-3 staring down 0-4.
Yeah. So they have a this is a month of figuring out what the hell doesn't work. That's the solid I can take. Kellen Moore, I think you either said it or I think I heard it somewhere. They were saying great hire, but he's gonna have to take some time to find his footing as a coach,
Yep.
as a head coach, and I think that takes time. I
Yep.
understood the intelligence in bringing along Staley as a former head coach. I understood the logic and why you make that play. I hated the decision because there was a reason he didn't immediately get a defensive coordinator spot after losing his job with the Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
He ended up having to take a sabbatical with the 49ers where they hired him as a consultant. That spoke volumes because when you're a good DC or when you're a good coordinator, they usually scoop you up instantly. No different
Mm-hmm.
than Dennis Allen getting picked up by the Bears. He wasn't out of a job soon. So to me, that was a red flag, but it was a bigger red flag in that he only had 1 year of a successful defense. He had an entire 3-year run of drafting the players he wanted, putting the defense together that he wanted, and that Chargers defense was terrible, and the players didn't like him much either after he left. They actually were higher on Jesse Minter's defense
Mm-hmm.
when they were put in that one, and he turned that defense around in a year. He turned that defense suddenly with the same players that Staley drafted that they weren't good with.
Mm-hmm.
Jesse Minter took that defense and improved it the following year with only the addition of a few other players. That speaks volumes. I understood the logic and the decisions. I have the patience to deal with Kellen Moore for a while. But the same way I needed and I wanted and I understood why we were so patient with Dennis Allen,
Mm-hmm.
it's like baked in top 10 defense. All he needs to do is progress as a head coach. Just he needs to work with his player. Whatever he needed to work on as a head coach, I need to see Kellen Moore find a way to progress in his blind areas so that he can ultimately become a better head coach. The
Okay.
patience with Moore, I think, should be like the patience with Dennis Allen probably shouldn't have been there as long because it was his second stint. But at least with
Fair.
Moore, I can understand giving him 2 to 3 years to grow and develop as a head coach while he continues to build his culture.
I would say the main thing that concerns me is with Staley. And I know that in the long run, I'm comparing apples to oranges to kiwis, but
Mhm.
it worries me, even with this being a team where they're at, talent wise, everything, losing 31 points. And why I bring that up, Dennis Allen in his first year of head coach, they did not lose a 30-point loss. Didn't happen. Sean Payton in his first year, didn't happen. Jim Haslett in his first year, didn't happen. Mike Ditka in his first year with us, didn't happen. That is the big thing that concerns me. I can get the rebuild. I can even get losing. It's this
Mhm.
style of loss that does concern me. And like you, I'm good with Moore. I was not really sold on Staley. And I'll say that while I'm not kicking him out the door, nothing he's done so far has sold me yet.
Yeah, I'm
So,
not impressed. But I don't know that I ever expected to be.
mhm.
I can't think about his name right now. Christian, it might be Christian Wilkins or Christian. I wanted the. I figured if you're gonna go with the Staley defense, I mean not the Staley, but the Fangio defense, you might as well go with the purest form of it. I actually wanted us to interview the defensive back pass game coordinator for the Eagles. That's who I actually wanted.
Okay.
Very, very highly thought of in circles. He was the one that came in and tied the entire secondary play, everything that Fangio wanted
Mhm.
to do in the Eagles' first year. When you think about the development of their draft picks, Quentin McHale, or not Quentin, forget their first round, then they also drafted the second round safety slash slot player. When you think about the development that he got out of that secondary, and then you look at the way that that secondary played in that Fangio defense, I thought that that was an easy selection. And yet, obviously, going with a former coworker that you feel comfortable with, who was also a former head coach, is also a logical decision. So I understood it. I just I saw too much bad things on Staley
Yeah.
that I didn't like, and yet it was a very safe choice for a first time head coach. So I understood
Yeah,
it.
like I can't fault him for it. Like, who's going to fault a guy getting that much NFL experience with an NFL resume in terms of as a DC? But at the same time, it's like we said last week. At some point, if Moore's going to survive here, he's got to find his Greg Williams.
Well, I think the most frustrating part about it is watch this. If you go back to Kellen Moore's introductory press conference, he said he wanted his football players to play smart.
Mm-hmm.
He said he wanted them to play fast, and I think physical was the other one, right? The penalties that we're seeing, so that they're not playing smart, okay? They're not also being able to play fast. This defense does not look like it's playing fast. You know why? Because they're thinking too much. Something about that scheme needs to get dumbed down
Yeah.
because the guys aren't flying around. There's an adjustment that needs to happen on that in that scheme, just like the offense needs to make an adjustment to kind of attack more and lean more on the run game, get Kendra involved with more touches, find a way to get Kamara out on the edges, find a way to use all this 4-2, 4-3, 4-3, 4-2 speed that you have to open things up. There's an adjustment that needs to be
Mm-hmm.
made. But then on the defense side, it's the exact same damn thing. I shouldn't be.
Yeah.
I'm getting. Listen, I was very happy to see more zone coverage. I was like, oh,
This
it's
is a
gonna be
lot
nice
more
to get
zone
away from the man
coverage.
coverage. I feel like I'm done watching zone coverage at this point. I'm done
They've
watching
played cover 3 pure zone. It's got to be
Yes,
40% just for that one
it
call.
yes. It
Just
is
that
it
one
there.
call.
I haven't seen much man coverage. Like not a mix up, not a change up, not a little bit of spritzer, not no lime, not no lemon zest, nothing. It's just we gonna drop back and we gonna look to the left and we gonna look to the right. We gonna watch the ball get completed right to my right side in front of him, behind me. And I I'm they gotta do better.
I
I
agree.
I need to see these coaches make an adjustment.
Mm, I'm
And they
with you.
got to the end of the month. They October. I need to see some development all the way around. I'm giving them to September. I'm not expecting much from them versus Buffalo. In fact, I'm not expecting anything enough that I wouldn't actually be surprised if they found a way to beat Buffalo. I
I'll say, look,
it,
as long as we don't get blown out, I'll be happy with an L. If I get enough film where I can look forward to watching film the next day, that's all I care about. But I would say this: if they win, man, I'm gonna be a very, very happy man on Sunday. I'm gonna be telling y'all we're going to the Super Bowl if we beat the Bills. I'm just letting y'all know ahead of time. I'm gonna flip every script from this week. We're going to the Super Bowl. So
I I would be
that might be
I
my
would
Super Bowl this year. To be honest, it might be.
like because they all they need is a little bit of momentum. It's
Yeah.
just for me, it's belief. If they can just get some type of momentum and belief. But I also still don't want to see the coaches coaching scared. Even though
Mm-hmm.
Kellen Moore had the couple of fourth down conversions, or at least the fourth down attempts, there was also that field goal he decided to kick where it's like we're just kind of trying to take the points at this point. Nah, you don't need
Yeah,
just
you're
3 points.
down
You
30
obviously
points at the
you
half. Go for the
you
freaking touchdown.
go for the damn touchdown. Like I get that.
And what does
Like
that tell your
again,
players too? Like, hey,
smart dude.
we know your ass is getting whooped, but we're going to kick a field goal right here.
Yeah, like smart dude. The decision making wasn't it wasn't a bad decision. It's like okay, we haven't been able to get anything going. We just need to get any points because we don't want this to go to waste. I
Mhm.
get it. Logically, I get it. But it still screams I'm playing in a passive mode. I'm playing. I'm coaching scared here,
Yeah.
and I need to see him like yo, drop your balls, bro.
I mean,
Go ball chin in.
when it's
Go full
38
ball
to
chin in.
3 in the second, bro, you do something.
You
Like,
got to
come
do
on.
something.
Because that 3 points, does it feel worse to go down 38 to 3 or 38 to 6? Let me tell you, you don't like
Yeah,
either
I
one of them.
mean,
So,
them little 3 points ain't do nothing.
yeah, if for no other reason for
It
your
added
players
no
to
energy to it.
yeah, your players should go into the locker room at least with some energy back in them, some excitement. All right, we scored. We're still down 4 scores, but we got it. Instead of like
Yeah, that
Blake
field goal
Griffin.
didn't add anything to it. It's
Yeah.
like, look, if you wouldn't have made it, and let's say you go for it and you don't make it, it's definitely not adding anything to it. But the 3 points, I mean, did that inflate anybody's chances that we're getting closer here?
Yeah.
Hell no, it didn't. So it's like I need to see more aggressiveness, more like, yo, like,
Yeah.
come on, man, do something. You got to do something, bro.
Who that
Do
forever
something. You
said
got to get this young team energy. You got to make them boys really believe or at least feel like, hey, we about to come out here and we gon' win, lose or draw. We gonna give you hell. You don't do that by kicking no damn field goal down 37 points. That's saying we trying to take what we can get.
shout
I
out
know I
to
shot my shot, but
to Who
can
that
I take you
forever.
to lunch one day?
Oh damn, not even it's lunch, not even dinner. All right, y'all
It's
remember
like it's like walking up to a chicken being like, hey, can I take you to lunch one day? More versus like, just get in my car right quick. Let's go. Hey, it's just I need to see a little bit more aggressiveness. Not that I don't know if you like me or not. I need to know you love me.
my man Elias said, I don't need no high school offense. Like you gotta grow up. Grow
Come
up.
on, man.
Shout out to Raheem. He
Potty
says
training the boys.
he said stop with the tush push. We ain't Philly. Hey, if it works, I'll be Philly, but we just can't do it. It's amazing how hard apparently that is to learn that play.
I mean, it's amazing how refereed that play gets for everybody.
It
but
is
Philly.
true too.
That's
Like
what's amazing. Like it gets called so much tighter for every other team that tries it, except for Philly. That's I'm okay with going for the play. I'm okay with even attempting it. Most teams are attempting it and actually being successful. It is very annoying to see that when Philly
Very
does
annoying.
it, they get away with all these discrepancies. But every other team that does it, it's like Hawkeyes watching it. What? You a centimeter over the line? beep, 5-yard penalty. Do it over again. Kick it. Do something different. I just, hey man,
I'm with you.
that was real rough to watch. It was real.
I can tell
rough. And I didn't
because
even watch the whole thing.
this whole game has got us both in it, but we're gonna be good by tomorrow. Who dat says y'all remember what happened in Buffalo 2017? I do. Ran 27 straight times, AK and Ingram. I think we ran for 250 yards that day.
I would love to see Kellen Moore actually lean on the running game in that. He
I
just
would
doesn't
too.
strike me as somebody that wants to.
But we'll see.
Go look at his first down percentages.
Oh,
go
I
look
know.
at how often Kellen Moore calls passes on first down.
Yeah.
Which to me is frustrating because A, it's predictable, but B, if you don't get more than 2 to 3 yards on the play, you turn back around and it's still second and long. And guess what you're gonna do on second and long? Guess what he typically does on second and long? He passes again, which means now you've gotten 2 straight passes, but now you've only gained 4 total yards. So now it's 3rd and 6 or 3rd and 7. Guess what he's gonna do on that third down? Pass again.
Damn.
It
feels like I've been here before too.
His philosophy lends itself to being pass heavy. The moment the pass doesn't get enough yards, or the moment the run doesn't get enough yards, it's gonna turn into a pass heavy offense, and that annoys me because you're not good enough to be pass heavy. You don't have a good enough quarterback to be pass heavy. You don't have a good enough offensive line to be pass heavy.
Hello.
You don't have good enough receivers to be pass heavy. So why the physic are you being pass heavy? Your formula should be based around run. That's what it should be. Do the window dressing with the formation. Or listen, if you're gonna be pass heavy, pass from running formations. At least add some disguise to it.
You mean the play action that they very rarely run?
Pass from running formations, run from passing formations. You got to add some complexity if you're going to be straightforward. If you're going to say, hey, I'm a drop back, I'm a first down pass team, right? I'm going to be a team that passes on first down. Okay, come out in a running formation. At least make them think you're going to run the ball.
I love this version of Elias. I like it.
Come on, man.
Tell somebody.
It's physical. Come on, bro. Like, I'm not a football coach. I've never been. But a lot of it is just like, hey, if you're going to design this thing the right way, there's like quality control. Like, so I'm sure there's a quality control coach that can be like, hey, bro, we running the ball 85%. I mean, we passing the ball 85% on first down. It's making us predictable on second down. I think we need to alter something about this philosophy here. Like our first down philosophy. It's not helping us. Somebody can tell them that.
I agree. I'm very interested to see what the numbers are when we do our episode on Tuesday. We'll share a little of it. Who do you want to focus on?
I don't even want to watch this game. I don't even want to watch it.
Oh, man, you don't want to watch it? All right, I will do a little bit. But that means Tuesday we'll focus mostly on what's going on. Like, number one, can we get Chase Young back? Like,
that defense is broken without Chase Young. I really do believe, like, Chase Young is the straw that stirs that drink. I really do think that Chase Young likely unlocks the majority of what that defense can be. But until they get him on the field, it's going to be trash. Why?
Yeah.
Because it's a defense that's based on cover principles. It's not an aggressive defense. It's based on cover principles. Well, if you're going to play that much zone, you better have a pass rush.
Better have it.
You better have a pass rush if you're going to play that much zone. Because the longer the quarterback holds the ball, the bigger the holes in the zone become. So you better have a pass rush, and the Saints don't have one. So that's why it's perplexing that he doesn't blitz more or call more goddamn man coverage. Stupid.
I see Elias over here turning into Chris Tucker here. Over under on Elias having a stroke by week 5. Now, my man's going to have nothing but health. We speak of health over him, but at the same time.
I don't have no damn stroke. I'll be here till I'm 95. I done seen it already.
A long season, but going to be a good season. Hey, look, y'all. Y'all come join us Tuesday. Don't watch this game again. I'll do it for you. Don't watch this game again.
I'm gonna struggle. Listen, I'm gonna struggle writing for the website this week because there's nothing. I have nothing good to say.
SaintsFootballTalk.com. I give you one thing. Quincy Riley got snaps. He deserves to get looked at.
Yeah, they better look at him.
Quincy
And
Riley.
he one of the players that got a nose for the. Listen, that boy was the cause of the first turnover that the Saints have gotten this season. And he was known as having a nose for the ball.
Give him the flowers.
During his college experience. He showed it in preseason. He has a bit of a nose for the ball. This is a defense that's supposed to make it easier for players to make turnovers. But you gotta have players that kind of are good at forcing turnovers for it to work. And here's the thing. This is what I think frustrates me about the thinking of this defensive staff. Yidam wasn't good with the 49ers when he went to play in that scheme. Yidam left us as a primary man corner, looked good in Dennis Allen's defense, went to the 49ers to go play in a match coverage scheme, which is why they brought Staley in to have him kind of give his inputs. Went to play in that match zone scheme, eventually got benched. Okay? We signed Staley, and then we go and get Yidam. Did anybody expect him to actually perform well in a defense that doesn't fit who he is? He's not an off coverage guy. Yidam is not somebody that you line up 8 yards, 9 yards off the ball and tell him to open his hips up when a receiver getting ready to run past him and try to make a break on the ball. He's not a breaking cornerback. He's somebody that you say, hey, line up close, get physical with the receiver, stay in his hip pocket, make the throw harder. That's who Yidam is. Not, come on, man. Them boys better tighten up. They better do something different, or I'm gonna look at this coaching staff and be like, y'all could hire me for this bull.
I'll take a check.
Y'all could hire me for this. I can give you better. Let me be a quality control coach. If there's anything I'm good at being nitpicky. I nitpick everything about both schemes and tell you everything you need to not be doing. SaintsFootballTalk.com, man. I don't know what else to say.
Peep the
I'm
articles.
done.
Who dat? God bless. We'll catch you on the next one.